Happy December of 2021. Made it to the end of the year. Today I want to wrap up the video on the Pineworld pistol safe, the K5. Now a couple weeks ago we published the initial impression video where we just kind of went over the way that it's supposed to work. And today, largely influenced by questions and comments that you've made, I want to examine how it functions in ways outside of the way that it was intended to work. This one should be fun. First of all, it's December. That means Christmas time is coming up, and that's a fantastic time to pick up your new Bigshooterist merch over at Bunker Branding. We've got some really cool t-shirts, stuff with the Bigshooterist logo. Then we have our AR-15 back in black wear, and we have a really neat limited edition shirt that they have in stock as well. I'll put links to all that as well as links to my book, The Evolution of the Black Rifle, in the description below this video. And since the traffic on the last few videos I've uploaded have been so horrible, please take time to check and make sure that you're subscribed and that the notifications are on if you have. If you haven't subscribed, or if you think you did and you found out that you're not anymore, imagine that, please take time to resubscribe. That would be a big help to us moving forward. Before starting this, I had no idea that there would be so many questions and comments, really good questions and comments actually, about the way this safe functions and features that it may or may not have. And it was very popular that we pursue utilizing or abusing it in a way other than what it was intended to be used at. And I get that. That'll be fun. But before we do that, because so many people ask sincere, honest questions, I want to look into a couple things that might be a little bit rough on the safe, but are also realistic in real-world ways that we would be using one of these things. And this is what I mean by that. Now, we all know what's going to happen if I put a stick of dynamite in it and a blasting cap and run a bunch of zip line back and hit the trigger. We all know what's going to happen, but the chances of somebody coming into your bedroom, sneaking into your nightstand and inserting a stick of dynamite inside the safe that they can't get into in order to obtain whatever valuables that they perceive might be in there, pretty slim. I'm not going to rule it out completely, but it's probably pretty slim. I think it might be more interesting to find out if that is the place that we're used, say in a bedroom nightstand, with things that might be available in an average bedroom, how easy would it be to defeat this thing? And that question and those answers are going to be far different than if it were a safe that you stored in your garage, say full of cutting tools and sledgehammers. The tools that are available to abuse this thing are going to be far different. But for a bedroom, I'm thinking there probably won't be much, especially if it's just a smash and grab kind of thing, or if the intention of it is to keep a curious, unauthorized person out of it, something that they wouldn't want to damage. They would just kind of curious and they want to get inside. So I'm thinking a Leatherman tool, and maybe on the far sides a screwdriver might be kind of interesting. Then several of you asked about the lock itself. How easy would it be to defeat the lock? Now again, I'm thinking, again, dresser drawer or nightstand drawer. So someplace that the lock wouldn't be readily available on a flat table, wide open, you know, even with your chest to your waist, a nice working area. I think it would be awkward to work on something like that were bolted into a dresser with a drawer in front of it. But let's go worst case scenario. Let's say that it were bolted to a table that had a chair in front of it, a place that you could sit and spend a few minutes and try to get in. Let's see if we can pick the lock. And in all fairness, I am using a lockpick set, and I do have a little bit of practice working on these things in the past. I'm absolutely no lock-picking lawyer or professional locksmith by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just a knuckle-dragging trigger puller that has a lock-picking set that he got from Tac Pack. You'll see there are things hanging in here every once in a while, and I spent a little time with it. Anyway, let's see if I can get my hands into that thing without damaging it. you I wasn't a professional, not by any stretch of the imagination, but I get into it. And it took me a little over 1 minute and 12 seconds, but maybe I got lucky. Let's try it again. Alright, so I got it down to almost 1 minute even this time. And again, that's under perfect conditions. Sitting on a bench, chest level with a chair behind it. And in my case, all the time in the world to focus and concentrate on it. But I was able to defeat the lock. Now, as you heard, the alarm goes off immediately. Of course, that can be defeated by reaching inside and pulling the batteries out, so that's not a long-term solution, but it's certainly going to garner a little bit of attention. Let's see what other methods we could use to maybe help us gain entrance to this thing without making it obvious that we were into it. And of course, it's that last part that's most important. If it doesn't matter if someone knows that we were into it, well, that kind of takes all the restrictions away. If it's just a matter of smashing and crowbarring and hacking and sawing, there probably aren't many safes that we couldn't get into in some capacity. But I'm focusing right now, again, on useful information. If it's something that you're going to purchase to keep maybe curious hands and eyes away from something that they shouldn't have easy access to, it's going to be a little bit different scenario than if it's something you're going to store the Hope Diamond in a garage in a rural section that's right full of tools. And I think that's an important distinction. Now that's interesting. I just started prying on it and the alarm went off. Now that's interesting. I didn't think of that. I knew that the alarm went off, if you gained access to it the wrong way. And we showed that by picking the lock, and even the regular key will set the alarm off. It's just a last ditch way to get into it if you should forget your code and lose your fingerprints or whatever. But didn't give any thought to it actually going off while you attempted to pry it. Let's try that one more time. Yeah, absolutely. All that's happening with my prying with a small flathead, the largest flathead, but it's fairly small in comparison to ones you typically use, but one that would be on a multi-tool, is continuously setting the alarm off. I'm not able to gain access to it that way, but again, it's a pretty small tool, and I was trying to think of something that might be available in the pocket, on the person, on a nightstand, for a smash and grab type of situation. Let's try something with a little bit more prying force. There goes that alarm. But I'm curious if I can still pry it open. All I'm doing is making more noise, it seems.
Successful.
So let's ratchet things up just a little bit. The multi-tool didn't do anything other than set the alarm off, but I couldn't get it to pop the lock. Let's try something that's a little bit more aggressive. So much for that.
System locked. System locked. System locked. System locked. Successful.
Well, so far that's impressive. That's a little bit more punishment than I expected to take. Certainly supersedes that smash and grab quick in and out without, you know, making noise or you know, marking things up, that's for sure. So I'm a little bit curious if all of that beating on and prying has disabled it from functioning the way it's supposed to. So I thought before we move any further, maybe we should see if it's still even operational. We certainly haven't gotten into it yet, not through prying anyway.
Already unlocked.
All right, that looks good. Let's try the keypad.
Already unlocked.
Good to go.
Already unlocked. System locked. System locked. Successful.
So even after running over it with an '07 Dodge Durango, not gently by any means either, it didn't break and didn't open it. It cracked some of the plastic on it over here, but it's just cosmetic. It didn't open it. It opened right up with the keys. It's still open by the touchpad, but it doesn't like my fingerprint anymore. Let's try something else. Now they mentioned something in their paperwork about being able to withstand or stop 9mm ammo. I've got a little SIG P365. Let's try that out. Take a look. So it took one hit right dead center. The second hit nailed the keypad. I'll be damned. And it still opens. So I just put the batteries back in it because, as you saw, we knocked the batteries out when we were shooting it with the 9. I wonder, you know what's funny is my telephone, I've got a Samsung Android, and it's not working with my hands. Maybe because they're cold and wet, I don't know. There, it still opens up. No more alarm, but there's no holes in it. It wasn't even close to going through. And even though I smacked it right in the number 2 key, the lock mechanism still functions correctly. So I think all of the realistic testing on this thing is probably found a wrap at this point. I think we're going to conclude the series on it. Of course, there are things that we can do that are over the top to destroy it and damage it even more. And I'm not going to rule out doing that at some point down the road. But I think most people tuning in actually want to know, real world scenarios and how well it's going to perform. And I'll tell you, it's impressive. The amount of abuse that we put it through, it's still working. Now, can it be defeated? Of course it can be defeated. It's a sub $200 pistol safe. It's not a $50,000 Diebold bank vault. And there are people that can defeat those things. So I really can't take it too serious that there are ways to defeat it, because they kind of go above and beyond what the intention of the thing is. And that is to keep, basically curious eyes and fingers out of things that would be potentially dangerous to them, and things that should be, kept out of reach of unauthorized persons. And I really think it does that quite well. I'm not a professional safe tester. I'm not Underwriters Laboratories, so I can't really rate this thing, but I can tell you that being used in the manner that it's intended for, it seems to function great. And even going well above and beyond that, it still functions great. I'm actually really, really surprised. It's a 16+ pound, block of metal that locks something inside of it and gives you several options for you to get in it, either fast or slow or whatnot. You have several options to do it, and that's kind of cool. For those of you that asked about specific other things, maybe with energetics, flamethrowers, and machine guns, let's not count that out. We'll definitely have more fun with it. I just don't think that they're really going to give us a lot of important information that people are actually looking for, and to answer some of the more serious questions that those of you have asked. So I hope you enjoyed this short series on the Pineworld K5 biometric pistol safe. It was kind of fun. It's very fun actually getting back into doing somewhat normal videos again. I really appreciate you sticking around as long as you have. Things are just going to get better, hopefully, from here. If you did like it, please click like, subscribe to the channel if you don't already. Double check and make sure that you're subscribed and that the notification bell is on. If you can, share the video with those in your vast social media universe, and help us get some traction on the channel again. We're really trying to pick back up from being down for so long. And don't forget the really cool new merch that we've got through Bunker Branding. The link to all of the t-shirts and the book are in the description below the video. If I don't see you again in the next couple weeks, have a Merry Christmas, and until next time, have fun and be safe.